But some nuns, like Sister Marjorie Tuite, are openly challenging Rome over issues like abortion. Confronting church authority is something nuns just didn't do when she was growing up.
I think you have to understand that you're talking to a cultural Catholic who was born into a Roman Catholic family, whose mother was a convert from Lutheranism to Roman Catholicism, whose dad was Irish working class.
Margie was their only child. In 1942, at 16, she entered the Dominican convent.
For a young Catholic girl at that time, it was very appealing. And we were all conditioned into saving our souls and doing this wonderful thing for Jesus.
The young Sister Marge was sent to teach in Harlem.
I think I look back on some of it as hard as we tried in those days, but with a sense of shame, because I taught black children about a white God. The God I knew from my parents. My early understanding of God was that God was white, male, Irish, and certainly a Roman Catholic.
Drawn to the work of Martin Luther King, Sister Marge was caught up in the civil rights movement. At the same time, Vatican II was reforming the Catholic Church.
What Vatican II did for many of us, religious congregations and individuals, it moved us to move out to mission rather than to retreat, in old language, behind the convent walls.
From civil rights work in the 60s to speeches at peace gatherings like this one, Sister Marge had redefined her role and is now an outspoken political activist, but not without consequences. On October 7th, in the heat of the 1984 presidential campaign, this ad appeared in the Sunday New York Times, stating, "A diversity of opinions regarding abortion exists among committed Catholics." 97 people signed this ad, including 24 nuns. One of them was Sister Marjorie Tuite.
I've spent my life working on issues of justice, for economic justice for women, for equal rights for women. Out of that context, I had to sign that ad.
At issue was the pro-choice position taken by vice presidential candidate Geraldine Ferraro. Her stand brought sharp criticism from New York's Archbishop O'Connor, and that, in turn, prompted the ad.
His critique was on the front page of the New York Times. Where better to respond? Where else better to do it than the New York Times?
Within 2 months, Rome's Cardinal Archbishop Hamer struck back. As head of the Vatican Office for Religious Men and Women, he sent this letter to the superiors of those who signed the ad. The signatories were to retract or face an explicit threat of dismissal. The nuns refused. More than a year later, it's still a stalemate. But the Vatican response has left its mark.
So it's not only an outrage, it's a tragedy and deep sadness.
It was necessary that they retract this statement because it was a course of scandal and confusion among the faithful.
I need to say that the ad was not meant to go against the official teaching of the Church. The ad was a call to dialogue, acknowledging that there was more than one position in the Catholic community, which is proved statistically in every other way.
It's the Church who has to explain the law of God. Private individuals are not assigned to do that, only the Church. So what conversation or dialogue is possible, I don't know.
Laws governing women's lives are made by males, a male hierarchy in isolation of the woman's experience. That's why we're asking to dialogue.
Sister Marge's rebellion has brought heavy reprisals because her community answers to the Vatican. Some religious orders are simply ignoring Rome's authority.